Hello, welcome to the Wednesday Educational Tools and Tips video where I cover off a certain topic, and today it's about how you let go of any emotions or thoughts that no longer serve you and what are the benefits of doing that. And we'll cover off how to do it and what potential tips might be of benefit to you. So if that is a topic that you're interested in, you want to know a little bit more, please stick around for the rest of the video. So for those of you that have followed some of my videos up until now, you know who I am, but for any new viewers, I'm just basically going to say hello, I'm Tanya, I'm 52 years old, I live on the east coast of Scotland, and I have recently undertaken certifications in coaching and hypnotherapy. So I've pivoted my career from being an accountant within the financial services, and now I'm embarking on this online, really fulfilling self-development work where I'm helping people transform their lives just like I am transforming mine. And this channel of being heard, being brave and being free is all about creating a community tribe where we're sharing experiences, and through the self-development work we may feel a little bit less alone, knowing that we're supporting each other, because it can be tough, but anything worthwhile, you need to sort of push through some of the discomfort. So in today's topic, it is about letting go. Now, in order for you to let go, the kind of purpose of it is, if you think of your life as a cup, if that cup is full and it's full of fantastic, great thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and goals that you want to achieve, everything is really positive, then absolutely you want that to be full to the brim, and you're happy that if anything better was to come in, it can overflow, and that's totally fine. But the reality is, just like myself, you probably have got a cup full, which might be half of it's full of really good stuff and half of it might be with stuff that's not as good. Or in some instances, I know in my past, I actually probably had about 90% of the cup was filled with a lot of negative stuff, the negative self-chatter and talk that I had, and only 10% of it was really self-praising, self-loving, self-caring. And I was looking externally to get validation to try and fill the cup. But it didn't matter how much good stuff was coming in, because there was 90% of negative stuff in. The good stuff couldn't increase in volume. It was never going to become more than the 10%. So the only way that you can actually start replacing negative stuff with positive thoughts, feelings, beliefs, actions that you want to take is about creating capacity within the cup. So the whole purpose of letting go is about getting rid of the stuff that's negative, and you no longer want it to be in your life. And therefore what you want to do is be able to tip the glass to let the negative stuff come out. And then when the cup is emptier and it might still have a little bit of negative stuff in there, but as long as the majority of it is positive, if you can ideally have it all positive, that is the kind of holy grail that we're probably all trying to achieve. But we're not going to berate ourselves if there is still a little bit of negative, but as long as the positive is really overshadowing any negative that may still be there, because we're all work in progress and we're not going to have it all sorted on day one when we start the kind of intentional transformational work. So that's the reason, the why. You want to create that capacity, that an ability to be able to take on new thoughts, new beliefs, new feelings, new actions. And the benefit of replacing the negative with the positive is that inner peace. It's that joy. It's that freedom. It's feeling lighter in yourself, that you're not carrying baggage and expectations and failures that you may have blown out of proportion in some instances, and it then sort of like takes away the joy in your life and the fulfillment that you could potentially be experiencing. And it's all about us moving from that kind of discomfort, unpleasant kind of position that we may be, and trying to move it into a more positive, pleasurable position, but it's actually benefiting us in the kind of long term rather than it just short term gain. And how do we do that? We need to give ourselves grace. We need to give ourselves space. We need to create a safe, secure space, give ourselves some allocated time where we can actually do this work, because it does involve us delving deep and looking at past events, past thoughts, past actions that you might have taken, any suppressed feelings that you might have just kept on pushing down because it didn't feel safe or secure for you to express how you were feeling. Because as children, when we come into this human experience, all we want is to be loved, to feel connected and belong, and being recognized, being heard, being praised, being celebrated, so we can actually feel that we actually matter. And in order to get all of that, in some instances, we will form negative beliefs that if something in our environment, our caregivers or our kind of family unit or the kind of environment in which we're actually being brought up in, they've got expectations and they've got beliefs that they then impose upon us. So in order for us to be able to feel that we're loved and we're connected and that we belong, we end up then start to people please or start to suppress what we're truly feeling and thinking. And in some instances, as children, we're age appropriate when we want to demonstrate a bit of anger and hurt. When someone says something that actually feels hurtful, we might want to cry, we might want to scream and shout. But if we're being told that that isn't acceptable behaviour, and eventually over time you start suppressing the expression of what you're feeling and what you're thinking, and it doesn't feel safe and secure for you to share, then you just bottle it up. But all those emotions and all those feelings get trapped in your body, and luckily for some people, it doesn't manifest in a physical ailment. So in my case, all the kind of mental suppression and the kind of emotional suppression that I was doing, it was just creating negative self-chatter and rumination. So mentally, I felt extremely fatigued and exhausted because it was just constant. It was almost this constant internal battle of constantly judging, constantly blaming, constantly expecting myself to do better and like get everything perfect, when those are kind of totally unattainable things. Nothing is perfect. Or on the flip side, we are all perfect because we are all doing the best that we can do. But the kind of stories that we sort of like play and play over time and time again can actually exhaust us. And in my life, I've experienced burnout as a result of that. Yes, via stress, but it's the constant internal chatter and judgment that was actually going internally. But for a lot of other people, that kind of, rather than it being necessarily self-chatter, it will manifest in kind of physical disease, discomfort in the body, whether it is IBS or bladder control issues, or whether it's headaches, migraines, back pain, shoulder pain, muscle pain, joint pain. It is usually because you don't feel supported, and it's not necessarily supported externally. It's being supported by yourself, because that negative self-chatter is manifest in a way in your body where it's creating discomfort, because your body is trying to say, wake up, pay attention to me. You need to be taking care of yourself, and taking care of yourself physically, but also mentally as well. So that sense of discomfort might sort of like appear differently for you than how it's actually appeared for me. In some instances, it could be both the kind of negative self-chatter, and it could be also physical symptoms and disease within your body that you're experiencing, in which case then you've got a double whammy. And the way that you can actually reframe what's going on is about emptying from the cup the negative stuff. It's about becoming aware what you're kind of thinking and feeling, accepting it, articulating it, trying to remove the kind of the emotion associated with it or the intensity of the emotion. Challenge it, because a lot of the stuff that we think is not necessarily true, and by being able to sort of challenge it and then sort of like come up with something that's going to better serve you, a better thought, a better feeling, and then that prompts you to take a better action or choosing to make decisions that are going to better serve you. And how do you sort of like release the kind of thought and release the emotions? In some instances, it'll be totally different to each individual. Some people might find that crying, shouting, screaming, journaling, doing a voice memo where you're actually just venting off, sharing how you're actually thinking and feeling with either a friend, a family member that you feel safe, to be honest and vulnerable, and that they're not going to start criticizing you or blaming you or judging you. So you've got a safe environment in order to do so. Or you do it all on your own, or you do some of it on your own and you do some with a friend or a person that you actually trust, or you pay for professional help. The choices are like, there's boundless choices out there as to what's going to sort of work for you. For me, it varies. Over the past few weeks, where I've been doing a lot of inner child work and codependency, the kind of looking at why I was people pleasing, why I was overgiving, why my boundaries weren't healthy, and sort of getting to the root cause of those kind of, well, what was the underlying feeling? What was the thought that was sort of triggering a lot of those behaviours? And for me, a lot of it was anger. It was suppressed anger, that I was frustrated, annoyed, angry with decisions that have happened in the past when I was growing up. And because I didn't feel safe, secure, and able to articulate my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, I suppressed everything. And in so suppressing, I was just bottling up all those emotions. Now, over the years, I've had little mini explosions, or as I refer to them, Tanya volcano moments, where I would just erupt, and for no apparent reason or for something that seemed very trivial, I would then sort of explode and start sort of like just venting off then and there. A lot of it happened at work, and some happened within the kind of family dynamic, and some of it was justified, but a lot of it was actually pent up, compounded emotions and not being able to articulate and express how I was actually feeling to let go. And in other instances, I found I had joined a karate club for a brief period of time several years ago, where being able to punch and kick and like be able to sort of like vent off some kind of physical expression of that kind of suppressed emotion was actually really helpful. What I also find is having a pillow and just screaming into the pillow, so you're not disturbing your neighbours or freaking anyone else out, but being able to sort of just let go and release that kind of sort of pent up frustration that you may have. And over the past few days, I've actually done a lot of crying as well. And I appreciate, if there are any males watching this, the kind of notion of being able to freely cry to release emotion, that might be something that is just so unfamiliar to you that you sort of like, you don't feel comfortable in doing. But this is where what we need to do is start making the unfamiliar familiar. And this is where, if in the moment you want to cry and that isn't something that you've done in the past, let it happen. Your intuition will guide you as to what's the right thing for you. If it is screaming, if it is that you want to punch, get a punching bag and just punch into that, because you certainly don't want to be punching a wall or a door or another human being. So you want to sort of vent off. Join a kind of exercise group where it would help you to sort of like release any kind of pent up kind of energy within the body, to sort of let it go. Another thing that I've sort of suggested to some clients is for them to go barefoot in the garden on some grass and just ground themselves into Mother Earth, and in so doing just shake their body, and by shaking their body just visualize the actual emotion, sort of like letting go and releasing, and maybe sort of repeating out loud, I'm letting go of the anger and the frustration, I'm letting go of the feeling of sadness, I'm letting go whatever that emotion or feeling is for you. And by having that connection to the grass and to the earth, you're actually, that energy is flowing out of you. And this is the beauty of Mother Earth. She can absorb that energy and she will willingly take that away from you. So that way you can sense that letting go. Now, a lot of our emotions are, the seat of emotion is sort of perceived to be in your gut, your stomach, or the solar plexus, if people are aware of the kind of chakra positions. And it's about letting that go. But in a lot of situations, what you tend to also feel is that your shoulders tend to relax and your back relaxes as well, because a lot of the tension can be felt in your neck, your shoulders and your back. And that's because, as I mentioned earlier, being supported from yourself as well, that is where you feel the support. It is your kind of spinal cord that is supporting your whole skeletal and muscle structure within the body. So by letting go, you can sort of feel that kind of ease, and you probably will feel lighter in your body and feel that sense of freedom, whether you feel it in your solar plexus, stomach, gut. For some of you, that might be the case. For me personally, even though that is where the emotion is stored, once I've actually let it go, whether it was because I was screaming, whether I was journaling, whether I was crying, or I was just punching into the air to let it go, for me, I tend to feel the release in my shoulders and in my back, and I feel lighter, as if this burden that I had been carrying was actually released and let go. And that sense creates that kind of within your body, that sense of freedom. And what I'm going to do is link here within this video, another video that I did as part of my 30-day challenge, where I talked about body wisdom and kinesiology, because there is this other tool that you can actually use to figure out what does your body actually need. And that way you're connecting with the need that you have in that time. So if you can't figure out if crying or screaming or punching the air or shaking your body or journaling is going to be the right thing for you, it's about you asking your body what it actually needs to let go of that kind of compressed, suppressed emotion within your body. And then once you can actually let go and feel that kind of release within your body, then that's when the cup is now a bit emptier. And what you can actually then do is start to think, well, what are the more useful thoughts that I want to introduce? What beliefs do I want to have? And it's about reframing things in order to assist you and in achieving whatever goals and dreams and aspirations that you may have, in order to make this life experience as fulfilling for you as possible. So that is something that we can explore in future video diaries, as to how do we find our kind of why, our meaning, our purpose. What do we want to actually introduce into our lives to fulfill ourselves? But for now, it's about the letting go. And by letting go, the benefits physiologically, but also mentally, it might stop that kind of rumination or the negative kind of circular looping thought patterns that you may have. And it's about just creating a little bit of space, quiet, so then you can start introducing some new good stuff. So in the comments below, let me know if you've been able to let go of any kind of pent up emotions, and what was the kind of best tool technique that you've actually used to enable that to happen. Have you tried any of the kind of expressions that I've sort of like shared in this video, or is there something else that you're willing to share? Okay, I'm going to bring it to a close. Thank you very much for sticking with me. Hopefully there was something of benefit in here for you. And if you want to sort of like follow on the rest of the kind of video vlogs on a Wednesday, it's all going to be about education, different topics. If there's something you want me to explore in a bit more detail, please leave a comment below. And on Friday, I'm going to explain a little bit of the letting go that I've done as part of my self-development work in the past 18 months through the hypnotherapy work that I've done and some of the coaching, because that is probably the biggest kind of aha kind of insight moments that I've had in the past 18 months. So then at least it gives you a little bit of context of how you can actually do this work and the kind of relief and benefit that you're actually gaining from it. Okay, I'm going to bring it to a close. Thank you for watching. Now go out and seize the day. Have the most amazing day. And remember, there's always choices in life, so choose wisely. Until the next one, bye.